Welcome to another episode of Women Series, where we capture developments and stories that impact women. Following the December 2020 release of the third edition of the Proshare Personal Finance Series, titled Investing in Peace of Mind, focused on insurance, today on the episode we'll be taking a look at insurance and women in Nigeria with Ms. Adetola Adegbayi, the Executive Director General Business at Leadway Assurance. Thank you very much for joining on this program today, ma'am. It's great to have you with us.
Great to have you too. Thank you for having me.
All right. So first, insurance remains one of the least understood economic catalysts, and then the value it offers is readily misplaced because it's often categorized as a cost element by all. Now, could you tell us what the importance of insurance for women is, especially in a nation like Nigeria?
Women are becoming more breadwinners within our environment. If you look at the economic landscape, you will find that increasingly women are the ones holding their families together. Of course, a woman doesn't have a choice. You know, when you have a child or family that you have to cater for, you really just have to ensure that you do everything possible to ensure their security, whether that is food security, whether that is financial security, whether that is in terms of every other thing that rests on both food and financial, which is education and other things. So it is important that as part of the cost of education or cost of food, that a woman also begins to see insurance more as that money that they also need to buy. So it's a cost, quite all right, but that cost is a cost of buying money, the money that you need for future financial security, just in case the unplanned happens. Now, you can plan everything. You can decide to put money aside for your child's education. You can decide to put, money as, whilst you're alive, they're able to feed, they're able to take care, you're able to take care of them. But things happen that can prevent you from doing that. When you now think of insurance and you think of insurance as buying money, then you don't need to worry because it's a cost. But with, say, 1 naira, you're able to buy 10 naira of protection, and you may not be able to save up to that 10 naira. So it makes wise financial sense to begin to think of insurance more as money. Like you said, it sounds esoteric, but the esoteric aspect of it drops off once you start thinking about it as money for the future.
You're an expert in the insurance field, and thank you for that, and taking insurance as money. But what are the predominant insurance policies taken by women to mitigate the risks of future losses?
Okay, when you're thinking of insurance as a person, you have to look at your lifestyle. And that's why I started with food security. Food security means you're able to work, you're able to put food on the table. What can affect that? So the risk that can affect your ability to be able to put food on the table is you can fall ill. Women run their small shops, whether they're selling provisions, as I say, from the bottom of the pyramid up. What you then need to think is, what can happen if anything happens to prevent me from being ill? So one of it is you can fall ill of your funds. You can buy health insurance. You can buy critical illness insurance. Again, moving forward, would you be able to pay for your child's education should anything happen? Yes, you can put money in the bank and save money, but the money you put in the bank, is subject to X amount of interest rate, which could be quite low if you're not within the band where you can command a higher level of interest. If you're not in that band, you can actually buy insurance, an education protection policy, where you buy money against your child's education for the future. You even get a tax advantage, if you add term life insurance to it. So you're buying savings, but you're also buying time life on top of it. And the money you're earning currently, you can use it to get tax advantage, particularly if you're in the formal sector of the economy. So that's another thing. Then you move forward again as well for yourself. You want to buy a house, you want to take a loan, you want to take a mortgage as a woman. You go to the bank, you collect the money, you collect the loan, you buy your house. But if anything happens, you may not be able to pay back the loan. So what happens? You get the mortgage protection assurance. So you move up again. as well and say, okay, God forbid anything happening. Should anything happen, how much money do I want to leave for my children so that they'll be able to take care of themselves? Once you determine that, if you're in formal sector, you have what is called group life assurance, which is compulsory under pension, and I'm coming to that as well. But once you drop out of employment, you need to buy your own, time life assurance, which is like a legacy you're leaving for your, for your children. So essentially, you can decide what amount of money do I want to leave? 100 million. You buy 100 million and leave 100 million as a legacy. You may not even be able to save up to 10 million, but you can't buy 100 million without being able to save up to 100 million. Now, what happens again? You retire. When you retire, your income level reduces. As it reduces, if you're a late boomer, and there are women who are giving birth to young children in their 50s, or they're giving birth in late 40s, early 50s, mid 50s, you need to ensure that you still have some income coming in. So when you retire, you have to decide, do you want annuity for the rest of your life in comparison to program withdrawal that a PFA offers you? So when you buy annuity for the rest of your life, which is being sold by insurance companies, you essentially are saying that, you remove the burden of thinking of where your income is going to come from, when you retire. Because by the time you're retiring, maybe your child is not just about 10 years old or 15 years old, if you're a late boomer. So women have to think, structurally in terms of their finances, but everything is dependent on the lifestyle. So all these are the broad insurances that I've listed, but within them will be products that different insurance companies will be offering. But you have to think broadly about the type of insurance you need. Then speak with an insurance company, speak with an insurance agent, speak with an insurance broker, and let them then advise you on the product that is available in the market to cover your insurance needs.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, Ma. And I must say, even the last year, and then the COVID-19 outbreak that we had has shown really that even if you have money in the bank, it's not enough. You need to secure some things. But from your own perspective, what types of insurance policies are very beneficial to women and then their families in extension?
How do I put it now? When it comes to talking about policies, I've talked about the insurances. Now you're getting me to talk about the products. There are people who craft products and call them women products. But essentially, they're still product talking broadly to what I've spoken to. Product to cover your property, if you have one, product to cover your home insurance products, so that you don't have to be taking out of your money should anything happen within your home. So we call it house that comprehensive or homeowner comprehensive. You have your business protection insurance if you're the sort that runs your business. So we have the property insurances. Some people will call it property damage insurance. Some people have coined it and call it SME insurance. They can even coin in women SME insurances, but it's just a type of property insurance that has been wrapped around for women, so to speak. So beyond the gimmick is that essentially a woman owns a property, and what you want to do is cover your property, cover your interest in terms of accident and health, and then move up again. So we have education protection plan, which I've also mentioned. Is a type of different insurance companies will call it by different names, but all you're doing is buying insurance to cover your children's education if you need to. We have mortgage protection insurance, which I've also spoken to. You take a loan from a bank to buy a property, you need to get the mortgage protection insurance. So these can be packaged for you as a woman and given to you as a bouquet, and then we call it women insurance. And finally, you can buy term insurance, which is essentially the legacy you're leaving for your children should anything happen, God forbid. So these insurances are still the same that anybody would buy, but they can be crafted for a woman depending on the woman's needs and depending on the financial risks that the woman is exposed to at the moment. Yes, we're talking about women, but not all women are the same either. So you need to first of all look at your lifestyle and decide what are the insurances that fits your lifestyle, and then go ahead and purchase insurance for that lifestyle protection.
Thank you very much, ma'am. But let's narrow in down onto the education of children. How do you think insurance can be used? I mean, you've spoken about products and then policies, but how exactly do you think insurance can be used to secure a better education for them?
Well, the way education protection insurance works is this. You decide which school is your child going to at the moment, how much fees are they paying. Once you decide that, okay, they pay, let me say average now, as we're all aware, your average is probably about 500,000 a term if you're a good, not so expensive school. So you're talking about 1.5 million a year. So if you take 1.5 million a year as your fee liability, and I'd like to talk about insurance in form of assets and liability. So your liability is 1.5 million for your child's education. Okay. Now, you can decide that you want to save 1.5 million naira by buying an insurance policy, not necessarily by putting the money in the bank, because the beauty of insurance is it actually allows you to lock away the money. We have what we call minimum hold period in insurance. It's like 2 years, you can't access the money. And then we have what we call surrender value, which is a penalty you face if you call back, if you terminate your policy before the 2 years. Now, the beauty of that is you can actually now put your money into an insurance policy, earn better than you would earn if you open a bank account, get the advantage of a tax, for the life element of it. And, you can decide you want to access that money when your child is entering, maybe you're able to manage the, the primary level. You want to access the money when your child is going to secondary school. So in the next 5 years, you're already planning for your child's secondary school. You want your child to go to the best school, just find out what their fees are. Once you find out what their fees are, buy insurance for it, and insurance will pay for it. That's the beauty of insurance compared to normal savings. So I would advise women to think structurally that way. I want my child to go to Green Springs. Green Springs is not 500,000, maybe it's 1 million per term. That's 4.5 million a year. Okay, so 4.5 million a year is what we pay at that very beautiful school. You can start planning it now. You don't have that money now, but you can start buying insurance against it. That is different from what I also said earlier. Education savings plan is different from education protection plan, which is really a life policy. So that one is, and a lot of us don't like to think of the of eventualities, and I appreciate that. But rather than think of the eventuality, because anything that happens to us as a human being anyway, that is fate, that is God. We leave that. But you can think of it in terms of money. Do you have enough money right now that if anything happens to you, your children will still be able to go to school? If you have a lot of money, then you may not need to worry because the money is there. Other family members may be there to access the money and pay. But if you don't, you can actually buy that money also and say that I want an education protection plan should anything happen. My children, and I want them to have that money up to they graduate from university or up to they do their masters. Which university do I want them to go to? You decide the university you want them to go to. You decide how much it's going to cost you. Say you want them to go to school in the UK, in Ghana, in wherever, whichever part of the world, in Nigeria, private universities in Nigeria. You decide what is the cost of a private university in Nigeria. This is the cost of a private university in Nigeria. How much average school is maybe 3 years to 4 years. You decide, and depending on the course, maybe 5 years if it's medicine. You decide 5 years, multiple times that, put inflation element in it. People also don't think of inflation when they're doing financial planning, but it's important that you think of inflation. Now, if it used to be 1.5 million, look at the inflation rates. Make your 1.5 million to be 3 million, for example. Then do 3 million times 5. So essentially you have 15 million. Buy 15 million. Buy 15 million today. So that if anything happens, your children's school fees will be paid until they reach, they graduate degree level or they get masters. So it's still financial planning. It's your buying money. So the more you think about, financial structures and financial planning, the better for you. So it's about women becoming more financially savvy, not just looking at an agent coming to them to sell a product. It's not about somebody doing a hard sell. It's about you tasking that person to ensure that that person understands your financial plan and your financial need and is able to give you what you want for protecting that financial need that you have.
Okay, so I'm going to take cue from what you said, and maybe there's a woman listening, and I'm just going to say, like you said, take that 15 million or take action on that 15 million today, or even if it's 10 million, just take action today on it for your child's education. And just as you said, the beauty of it is really that it is locked down, and there's a penalty for taking out of the fund. So you have to be disciplined about it. It's calling for discipline. But looking at advocating for insurance, how do you think women can be better advocates for insurance policies for their families?
Well, I'll tell a story because, when we look at insurance agency, there's a story I tell, and it's about the China market. The China insurance market is probably the largest personal insurance market in the world. And I say personal insurance market, not the largest insurance market, because there's a difference. The penetration rate there is very high. You get insurance companies that have policy holders that is almost equivalent of the former working population of Nigeria. So the working population of Nigeria is about estimated maybe 70 million odd or so. I mean, former working population. Now you get policy holders in China that in one company that probably controls that number of policy holders. How do they do it? You'll be amazed, it's women. Interestingly, a lot of their agency, insurance agency run by women, housewives who are not really going anywhere but want to earn some extra income, so they take on insurance. They, first of all, they understand the product, they bought the product, so they now use that opportunity that they have to then sell and market the product and influence purchase. Now, you ask me, they're selling to other women as well, who are selling to other women, who are selling to their families, because they now understand financial planning. So for me, women who understand what it means to not be able to provide, who understand the pain, of not being able to run away from responsibility, now become the vanguard of a method of securing that financial responsibility. Nothing can be better than that. So I would say that women, regardless of their walk of life, can actually become, part-time insurance agents and part-time insurance salespeople. But first of all, they must understand financial planning and also be consumers of it as well.
We've seen a lot of gender imbalance in various sectors, not just in the insurance sector, but what do you think can be done to improve gender balance in the insurance sector in Nigeria, especially in management?
You're asking me a very difficult question, and I tell you why it's difficult for me. I struggle with discrimination in the sense that I actually believe that what holds women back is probably women themselves. I think, and sometimes also women have choices. Some women make choice to stay at home. Some women make choice to work. And I don't think we should disrespect the women who have chosen not to work. Most of the time, when we're looking at the statistics of women who are not working, or women who are not willing to go up the ladder, and I'll say willing because again, I still believe it's a choice. We cannot then look at that statistics and then say that there's an imbalance without recognizing the choices that women have made at different points in their career. I mean, I've had friends who say, you know what, I need to be at home for my children. I'm an architect, a very good one, master's level. I'm brilliant at what I do. But whilst I'm raising my children, I don't want to work. My husband's salary or my husband's earnings are enough to keep us okay. When I'm ready to go back to work, I'll go back to work. And I've had people who do that. So after raising their children, maybe their children are now, because they don't really want to leave their children to the care of nannies, so to speak. The children are now old enough, they go back to work. Now, when they go back to work, they cannot just jump to the top of the ladder immediately. They have to start from somewhere again. So the imbalance that we see sometimes, and I'm not saying that people do not discriminate, please don't get me wrong. There are people who discriminate. But I think the imbalances that we see may also be an imbalance that is just a natural order of the choices that women have made. Is that wrong? I don't think so. Is it good for women to also use the gender imbalance as a step, as a ladder to promote themselves up? I also think that is okay too. Everybody uses what they have to get what they want. So if women feel that there's an imbalance because more women have decided they're not going to, be within the formal employment sector, then fine, let the women use it. But I struggle with discrimination, and I struggle with men are this, women are that, because I think the natural order is also still there and is ignored when we're looking at the statistics. And it's important we look at that natural order when we're talking about statistics.
So as a woman, you have a choice to make, and that choice is valid. I would really love us to discuss further on this, but because of time, we need to run through. But I would like to take your views on the factors that you think can aid increased participation for women in the insurance sector.
I mean, we have lots of women in the insurance sector. You'll be amazed. We're probably the most balanced sector of the financial services sector in Nigeria. And why? Like I said, agency. Women run their brokerages. A lot of women own insurance brokerage companies in Nigeria. Kudos to a lot of them. They're running their business. They're doing very well at it. They're playing the men out even when it comes to that. You'll be amazed how many women are very aggressive within our industry. You know, I don't even think I have enough time to, to start listing them. Even the ones that, I mean, they're just phenomenal women that are doing.
And I'll just say a big round of applause to them. They deserve it.
Phenomenal women. They're doing their bits. They're giving the men, they're working almost on an equal platform. So when it now comes to let's leave the intermediation part of our business, go from intermediary now to insurance companies. Women also lead insurance companies. Now, what I say with leadership sometimes is that there's a saying that he who owns the money owns the trade, so to speak. So when you take he who owns the money owns the trade concept and you put it in business in Nigeria, you will find that men take financial risk of starting businesses and formalizing them and moving them up, okay? Now, the more women we also get who take chances in business, find businesses and move them up, the more the recognition women will get in formal leadership. Now, most of the women that we see in formal leadership today, if you look at their background and their history, they've been the ones who have also, one way or the other, started their businesses, done their businesses, are themselves business leaders in their own right by creating platforms for themselves. So when they take these risks, they become recognized for what they do. They inspire other women. And as they inspire other women then are brave enough to say that, okay, we also need to do this. And that way, the number begins to increase. So women need to own businesses, run businesses, be the ones in charge, and then elevate and inspire other women to come up with them. That way we're going to get there.
And we would get there and then take risks as well. But what prospects do you think are there for women who might want to venture into the Nigerian insurance industry?
The prospects are good. Just take it like a business. Just decide that, is this an industry for you? If it's an industry for you, you come into it. And there are ways by which you can come into it. You can come into it under intermediary. You can come into it as an engineer, or, through an adjusting firm. We don't even have enough women in adjusting, for example, because adjusting business is a business that has, you go to places where there are losses, you do loss assessments, requires a bit of an engineering background, coupled with insurance. You have risk survey and risk management, that you can also go to. That is your surveying risk, mainly large engineering risks as well. And sometimes you don't even need to be an engineer. You could just be, an enterprise risk management person. So you are a financial risk person, financial risk analyst, or financial assurance person. You can go into this field and start doing risk analysis as well within the insurance industry. The insurance industry is so wide that there's a place for women, every part of it. All you have to do is just decide. Then you have the insurance companies themselves in terms of underwriting. I started out in Leadway as a lawyer. And then I started doing the insurance courses. And when I did the insurance courses, I did courses that were, you know, not the general ones that people would do. I do courses that are a bit more specialized. And with with that specialization, you begin to understand insurance better. So I went from being a lawyer to being somebody who was handling underwriting. And now I am where I am within an environment that promotes merit, so to speak. Plus, I'm also as bullish as they come. So sometimes also women are not as bullish as they need to be. I'm not, I'm aggressive in areas where I have passion. And I think, when you have passion, your aggression will come out. And I'm not saying aggression means, be nasty to people. I'm just saying that women also need to find the areas that they have passion in, love that area. And when they love that area, the aggression will come out. And there are different ways of aggression coming out. There are silent aggressors. There are obvious aggressors. You can be a silent aggressor in your field. Once people know you for what you do and they know you're very good at it, you get the respect that you deserve as a woman. So for me, it's just about deciding. Everything I've said today for me is just about decide and making choices. And that's what I think is important.
Thank you so much for sharing, man. Now, Leadway Assurance has been at the forefront of driving increased enlightenment about insurance, and this we also witnessed through the support of the Proshare Personal Finance Series insurance report. Could you tell us the other things being done by Leadway to drive increased enlightenment and then insurance penetration, and what viewers should expect this year, 2021?
Well, COVID and SARS have shown us the importance of insurance. We as Leadway, some of our customers lost their properties, and we're able to respond to that. People are demanding a more insurance survey. We're all working from home, so we're talking about promoting cyber insurance as well, to ensure that you have the right security systems for your business, even though you're working from home. In that area, we try to do a lot of thought leadership. My being on this program with you today is one of it as well. It's part of that thought leadership too, trying to come into a space and getting people to understand insurance fundamentally, not insurance from an esoteric point of view, not insurance from talking to you about indemnification and using all the fancy words that makes the subject matter remote from people. So we're trying as much as possible to remove the fancy words, to really turn insurance into a language that people understand as being part of finance. Once people understand that it's part of finance, then we can now begin to get into the minds of people to understand about financial protection. All we sell is protection, and our language is protection. So we're doing a lot of that, whether through the social media or through physical presence, or through franchise arrangements that we have, women can also take on our franchises. I mean, women are relatively trustworthy. So we have franchise arrangements also, that all these things we use to ensure that not only are we creating awareness by, education and enlightenment, we're also making our presence felt in different areas, because an insurance company can only do so much in terms of branch expansion. So one of the ways by which we can expand our branches is by looking at franchise opportunities. And we have such franchise opportunities for women within Leadway. So if I cannot go to a remote area and I have a woman that is business savvy, has the right money, to set up, has the right, credentials in terms of honesty, and we have ways of testing that as well, has everything that we require, we can allow that woman to open up in a remote area. And that remote area also is a way of educating the people, because the people there were wondering, so insurance, what exactly do you do here? By the time they begin to find out what you do, you start to talk to them again about insurance. So that way, we work together with our insurance association, we work together with our regulator to promote insurance education. So that's how we do it as Leadway, and that's how we continue to do it moving forward.
Thank you so much for coming on the program and joining us to discuss and get inside of the subject. Mrs. Adetola Adegbayi, it's been great having you with us.
And thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode of the Women Series. Visit our website via the link showing on your screen to download the insurance report. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms and connect with us on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram channels. And you could also send me an email at programs@ProshareNG.com. Till next week when I come your way again, thank you for watching and bye for now.